Once upon a time, in a world far, far away, there lived a large, happy family. This was where Oscar grew up, and this was Oscar's family. As a toddler, Oscar was surrounded by countless aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters and cousins. Oscar's parents were always nearby. Oscar felt safe, happy and loved. One day, Oscar became a child. This meant school. Always surrounded by the protection of his large family, Oscar liked school. At school, Oscar developed a love for music. Time passed. Oscar became a teen, still surrounded by his wonderful, huge, loving family. By now, Oscar had made a few close, special friends. His love for music continued to grow. Oscar decided he would become a rock star one day. Oscar was beginning to follow his dream of becoming a rock star when he aged up to become a young adult. He worked in another world. His family and best friends prepared a surprise party to celebrate his achievements and to welcome him home. A meteor shower hit their home. Everyone, his parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, best friends, everyone was inside, waiting happily for him. There were no survivors. Oscar wept. He spent the next several years aimlessly wandering through worlds, learning how to live alone. Now, without his family, he was always on the outside. One day, Oscar found himself in a dreary little world. Its name was Hidden Springs. It seemed to rain all the time. He wondered if that was how it got its name. There were rumours that occasionally the sun did shine in Hidden Springs, and some residents whispered about a strange, crazy cat lady witch living somewhere in the world. Oscar dismissed those rumours as fanciful. A pretty little house caught his eye. It was the Gypsy Hideaway at 19 Willow Lane. The house was for sale and Oscar had just enough savings to buy it. Oscar decided to stay in Hidden Springs. On the day he bought the house, it was widely reported that multiple rainbows appeared in the sky. Oscar's traits are flirty, party animal, hopeless romantic, easily impressed artistic. His lifetime wish is rock star. Episode 1 of Oscar and Louise. Oscar arrives in Hidden Springs. As soon as he got to the house, he realised something was terribly wrong. There'd been a meteor shower during the night. Fortunately, it was a small meteor shower, but it brought back memories. He decided he'd go inside and retreat from the mess and watch the romantic channel on TV for a while. But it was no escape from the mess. The meteor shower had got inside as well. He couldn't concentrate on his TV show. He got the table and chair replaced. Other furniture seemed to be okay, but there was bits of meteor and burned floorboards all around the lower level of his house. It took him quite some time to clean it all up. Considering his family history, I thought it showed great strength of character that he was able to focus on the job at hand and apply himself to getting his entire little house all spick and span and ready to be lived in. Hopefully, he'll be able to sell a lot of the meteors that are scattered around outside and have some extra funds to help him set up his new home. Because at the moment, all of his furnishings are basic, cheap. They need replacing and upgrading. And here comes the university mascot, as usual. Oscar might help himself to some goodies out of that little bucket. I don't think he's going to university though. He's happily in a rock star career. But he could go to university later on. Looks like he might be able to go into the future as well, with that portal landing on his front yard. I guess that university mascot is hoping Oscar will stop and have a chat. But Oscar's got a job to be done and he's going to do it. If he stops to chat, it might take him all week to get this mess cleaned up. Upstairs looks fine. That's all his house is. Who's that at the door? Oh, it's a fire person, asking if he wants help. No, I think he'll get this all by himself, thank you. And before I could get down there to get a good look at her, or the fire engine, she was gone. Should have paused. We heard the siren. I think that's the university mascot's car. And the ice cream machine's there as well, as usual, the ice cream truck. Now Oscar can go outdoors and collect the various meteor fragments that are scattered around his yard. This is where he might make some money. And if he doesn't get enough money from them, well then I'll have to send him to the festival to pick flowers and to the greenhouse to pick up some suns, because he doesn't earn very much in his rock career. He did join the rock career very early. When he was still a teen, he got interested in that, and he was working at the lowest level before his family were involved in that terrible accident with the meteors. But he left that career as he wandered around the various worlds, trying to readjust himself to life as a person without any friends or relatives, instead of being a person with more friends and relatives than he could possibly even imagine. He's still working out what he's going to do with his life. He does feel alone, and he's starting to think that perhaps he should get married. After all, he is a hopeless romantic, and that seems to be an obvious choice for him to make. But then of course there would be the problem of finding somebody to marry, because obviously she'd need to like children, because he's obviously going to want to have a large family, to put himself back in his old comfort zone, even though the family he knew so well have all gone. He'll be able to make a new family, and hopefully they will all be happy together, and he won't feel quite so bereft and lonely and empty. He's still sad, but he's got to the point where he's now turning his life around, and he started back in the rock career at level 1. Hopefully he'll work his way up to the top fairly quickly, because his lifetime wish is to get to level 10 of the rock career and be a rock star. Now he's going to analyse all of his meteors that he's in, space rocks that he's just picked up, and then once he's analysed them all, he can sell them, and we'll see how much money he's going to get. I have a suspicion that he's not going to get a lot of money, because there weren't any really huge rocks there. There was quite a small looking meteor shower. I think it probably did more damage than gave him a benefit. Or hopefully at least he got to break-even point, where the cost of repairing his table and chair and cleaning up was no less or more than the cost of, or the money he's going to get from selling his rocks. So here he goes. He wants to go across the road, but he has to get a taxi to do that. Of course, he's a sim. So he's gone across the road to the elixir store. He's got to meet a few locals. He's not actually been very sociable while he's been wandering around as a homeless person in Hidden Springs, but now he's a property owner, and it's time to meet some local people. And he thought he'd start with the elixir store attendant, since the elixir store is so close to his home. He'll probably spend some time over here raiding the honey from the beehives out back and catching beetles and butterflies. And he might even, at some point, start selling his own items here, such as elixirs he might make in the future, or things he might grow in his garden. And there's some interesting books there he might want to buy later on, but not today. He has no need for any of that today, and nothing to sell. He thought he might try to sell his space rocks there and get some extra money for them, but it seems they're not available to be sold at the elixir store. He'll just have to sell them from his inventory, I think, because we don't want aliens to invade, so he doesn't want to be carrying them around in his inventory indefinitely. Music! Oh, he's seen an attractive sim. He's flirty. Oscar's a flirty sim, so he likes to flirt. And the elixir store attendant is telling a ghost story. And Oscar has to choose. Does he listen to the ghost story, or does he flirt with the attractive lady sim? He quickly discovers she's married, but he doesn't worry too much about that. They just keep dancing. She seems to be quite a friendly sim and congratulates him on his new house. He's told her all about it. Oscar and his newfound friend, or acquaintance, she probably still is at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be friends eventually. They spend some time chatting and getting to know each other. Pink hearts. Yeah, well, he is a flirty sim. He'll probably get lots of pink hearts with lots of different lady sims. I wouldn't take much notice of that, knowing Oscar as well as I do now. Oscar is really a huge flirt. At least his personality is starting to peep through again after all of the trauma and tragedy he's gone through recently. His whole life has been completely turned upside down, and he's starting again from scratch in a new world and in a new career, even though it's going back to the old career. But he never got very far with it to start with. He just started in it and was going home to have his birthday party and celebration of aging up to a young adult and for getting a job. And all of that was stopped by a meteor shower. And now he spent some years wandering the worlds, and he's come across hidden springs, and he's decided to stay here for now. Of course, if things don't work out for him here, he can always move on. But it's time this conversation ended. It's getting late, so he's gone out the back to raid the beehives, but there's no honey in the hives. It's too early for that. This is only the first day of the game, and there's no honey in no beehives. So he's going to just smoke the bees and feed the bees and leave it at that for today. I did hope he would catch some of the butterflies that were flying around, but by the time he'd finished with the beehives, it was too dark for butterflies and they'd all gone. You can still just see a purple butterfly fluttering around in the distance near that taxi, but I'm afraid when he's finishing with this beehive, that's it. Butterflies have all gone to sleep for the night. He's hungry, so he should go home. No, he still can't get honey. Better go home, get himself something to eat and have a sleep. He lives just across the road, of course. He can just walk across the road and be home. But he'll get a taxi, because just across the road is his backyard and he wants to be delivered to his front door. See, I told you, taxi. Those trees that you can see there are growing right next to his house. There it is, just drive around the corner and hop out. If they're right against their back boundary, though, I have managed to get them to walk across the street instead of using a taxi. So, what's he going to do? He's going to freshen up, and then he's going to go to bed. We're going to sell all of his space rocks now. He's having a light dinner, just some juice, and then he'll be off to bed for the night. Oh, he's going to take the rubbish out first. Good on you, Oscar. I suppose after spending such a long day cleaning up after that meteor shower, that he wants his house to stay nice and clean. And he's going to raid the university's box and see what he can get out of that. A new shirt and a flag. Might read the paper before he goes to sleep. I think we need to replace his equipment. He's going to get a job. Oh, that's what he's doing with the paper. He's got himself a job. He hasn't got into his new career yet, but he's in it now. He's just joined the music career. He's too tired to go anywhere. He's going to go have a sleep. Shower first, huh? Must be a bit grubby. He has his hygiene's down quite a way, but not all the way down. So a quick shower and then a sleep. We'll leave Oscar sleeping, because this is the end of the video, and the next video it'll be a whole new day. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in episode 2, where we'll see what happens next. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.